This is Saturday Morning Mysteries.
And we're your hosts, Alexis and Grace.
Hello, good morning, and welcome to another episode of Saturday Morning Mysteries. We're your hosts. I'm Grace.
And I'm Alexis.
And we are continuing our TaleSpin arc with our bears and our other anthropomorphic, I can never say that word well, creatures who, just get up to no good, run prison camps. I don't know what they're up to these days.
Torture
Anthropomorphic animals. They're just like us.
They have problems. They tie one shoe at a time.
When they actually wear shoes.
Exactly.
Some of them do, some of them don't.
They're just like us.
Exactly. Yeah. And this week, Alexis is continuing this arc for us. So we're over halfway. So we just have a couple episodes of TaleSpin left.
Which is crazy to think about.
I know. I know. As if it's on a seaplane, perhaps, flying by so fast.
It's like
this arc's in a tailspin. I hate us. All right.
I do too. Well, know what?
Take it away with that horrible start.
On that note, for those of you who are still around after that terrible joke,
hang up.
Yeah, hang up the phone immediately. Yep. Shut your laptop. Yes, so we're back. We're going to discuss another episode proving that, just like Grace said, these anthropomorphized animals are indeed just like us. They do stuff that normal everyday people in America circa 2024 do all the time. Like how I actually had to look at the calendar to see what year is it. Circa 2024.
Oh no.
Yes. Remember, we're time travelers, so it's just hard
it's so hard. We have
keep
calendar
these things
all the time.
Yeah, exactly. Today's episode, though, it is based on the episode of TaleSpin called Baloo Thunder. And I did have to double check because I was pretty sure they're trying to say Blue Thunder. That's the pun in this episode title. And yes, that is a movie that came out in the mid 80s, I think, 83 or 85, something like that. I don't know. I've never actually seen it. It's like an action thriller movie about the LAPD.
In the 70s?
In the 80s, I think.
Not any better.
Which, not much better. But they're trying to uncover this conspiracy thing. And it's the helicopter unit of the LAPD, etc. Okay. There's this political conspiracy going on, whatever. I've never seen it. Sounds like it actually might be pretty good. Maybe I'll watch it someday. I don't know. Clearly, the writers of this episode, though, saw that movie and they were like, hey, what if we did this, but with bears and Bengal tigers instead? Or big cats instead.
Hear us out.
Hear us out.
Bears.
Walt Disney.
Remember the LAPD corruption?
Sloth bear.
Sloth bear.
So the episode begins like any other normal day for a normal American, in the middle of a board meeting at Khan Industries. So, yeah, this episode is all about corporate crimes, by the way. Just go ahead and get ready. Just like us. So among the attendees of this board meeting are, of course, Shere Khan himself, the owner of Khan Industries, a little nerdy looking mole, I think, named Wilbury. And he's very cute. He's very short. And it's also funny because he's the only mole in the room. Everyone else is a big cat. So
I'm suspicious that he's a mole, that they chose that animal.
I think it's a mole. I don't know. You watch it. You tell me, audience.
Well, I think it depends if he ends up being
I thought of.
a mole in this corporate board meeting or not.
Well, you'll see in a second. So this, are these writers not as clever as we thought? So yeah. So this guy, he's really nerdy. He's adorable. He's got on a little striped tie and a tan coat. And he's obviously got very thick and dark rimmed glasses, or circular rimmed glasses. And then we also have, among other people at this meeting, a Mr. Simon Perry, who I think is a cheetah. I guess he could be a leopard, but pretty sure he's a cheetah. And he's just, standing on two legs in a blue business suit. So during this meeting, Khan asks Wilbury, who seems to be the numbers guy, the nerdy, geeky analyst or whatever. He asks Wilbury for an update on the company's top secret project, which share Khan hopes will bring the company a big financial boost after profits from their previous quarter were lower than expected. And so Wilbury, he's like, oh yeah, of course. Like he's ready to give this presentation. He's a little nervous though, obviously. He's a little on edge. And he's reaching for his briefcase from underneath the boardroom table, but he can't seem to find it. So he's like, sorry, I can't find my presentation. If you'll just give me 1 minute, let me run back to my office and I'll go get it and I'll come right back, I promise. And he's panicking. But this angers Khan, who's pretty impatient. And he then decides, like, I don't wait around. Sorry. So he presses a button that literally just ejects Wilbury out of the building.
Oh,
like,
no.
It's like, I want to say it's like one of those spring chairs or whatever that just like shoots him out. Yeah. And that's the last we see of Wilbury, actually. So no, I don't think he is a mole or like a figurative mole.
Or this is his origin story for an episode later on where he does become a mole for the feds.
Yeah, right. Wilbury has just gone from this episode, not from like the universe.
From the world.
So, exactly. So as it turns out, though, Wilbury, he didn't forget his suitcase or his briefcase from this meeting. It was there under the table, but Perry, Mr. Simon Perry, this cheetah fella, he was able to like grab it from underneath the table and just scoot it over by him so that he acted like he had the briefcase the whole time. And as soon as Wilbury was like ejected out of the building, Perry gets up like, don't worry, sir, I can take over from here. I've got the numbers. And so he opens up Wilbury's briefcase and pulls out
espionage.
Right. Or just corporate assholeness, a little bit of both.
Corporate.
Is the key word here, the operative word. So Perry then starts, using all the presentation materials directly from Wilbury's briefcase, and he's giving Khan and everyone else at this meeting the rundown of the financial outlook and the process or like the stages of where this top secret project currently is. And so Khan, he's like really pleased, really happy, really impressed with Perry's presentation, saying that everything sounds good and looks good and that Perry did a great job. But he's even more happy at the fact that Perry determines that the new top secret project will undoubtedly give them an edge, a business edge over their rival, the Miniversal Corporation, which is hilarious because Miniversal, I was like Universal? So it's like Disney versus Universal.
The direct competitor.
Yeah.
Wow. Hell yeah.
Yeah. Which I am pretty sure in the year 1990 was owned by GE, aka like General Electric, aka like defense contractor.
Wait,
GE.
really?
Yeah, pretty sure. They sold them, I think, in the early 2000s.
What?
Everyone double check us on that. If I'm wrong, don't tell me. But if I'm right, say it.
Say congrats.
Yeah, so it just makes it even funnier because Khan Industries is like a defense contractor, as we've seen throughout the show so far. So it's very funny that they're like calling Universal out like that as Miniversal. So anyways,
iconic.
Like, Disney's like,
Disney.
We're not defense contractors. Like,
what? Us?
What? Us? No.
We're the good guys.
Only if the weapon is fun and entertainment, fungineering.
Only if the weapon's imagination.
Yeah.
The greatest weapon of all.
Right. Creativity. So, meanwhile, down in the Khan Industries Research and Development Department, or like laboratories, we see their lead engineer, Buzz, who is a bird of some sorts. He's white and probably is like a waterfowl. He's got longer beak and kind of webbed feet, whatever. So he's like super eccentric. Oh, and he obviously has on like a white coat, I'm pretty sure. So like, oh, this guy's a scientist.
He's lab.
He's a lab, exactly. So he
not
is
in the lab. He is the lab.
He is the lab. So he's very eccentric. He's very energetic, and he's kind of like he's spazzy and has a very short attention span. Where like every second he's bouncing around, thinking of all these new creative ideas. He's scientific. He's fungineering again. If you are imagineering, imagineering. Actually, I don't think we can say that because I think
no fungineering.
Yeah,
yeah, we can't get you sued.
Yeah. So he's just down there like thinking of all this crazy stuff, amazing fun, but also very dangerous prototypes for these things that can be used by con industries, either for like household convenience or perhaps in times of war. So
same thing.
Same thing, right? Yeah. Depending on where your house is, I guess.
Exactly.
So he's down in the lab messing with all these trinkets, but also giving a tour of the lab and of the whole R&D department to our favorites and apparently his, Baloo and Kit Cloud Kicker.
Oh.
So it turns out, yeah, right? Oh, okay, cool.
We give tours.
Baloo, he's just always around, right? So yeah, it turns out that Baloo and Buzz actually go way back. And at one point in the episode, Baloo says that he's known Buzz essentially his entire life, which for a sloth bear, I should have looked up what their life expectancy is, but like
not impressive.
Well, yeah, exactly. I was like so
we've maybe known each other as long as they've known each other.
Yeah, right. Or as long as they've either been alive. Yeah,
exactly.
Either of them has been alive. So not impressed, Baloo. Sorry.
Next.
But I will say that I hope that we treat each other the way that Baloo and Buzz treat each other.
Okay.
So maybe we shouldn't shit on them too much. So nonetheless, I imagine that on this occasion, Buzz and Baloo were out grabbing lunch like good friends do. You know, it's like, hey, let's catch up, grab some lunch. And Kit tagged along because that's what Kit does. He's an orphan boy. He's like, this is my first time living. I get to go.
It's a restaurant.
Get lunch. You mean they actually give you a napkin? You don't have to just like wipe it on your face and clothes? Wow.
The food comes to your table, you don't pick it out from a can? Huh? In the back alley?
You mean someone actually pours water for you? You don't have to just drink it out of a river?
Oh, poor Kit.
I imagine that, Kit, he was just excited to tag along in this instance. And after lunch, the trio, they're just hanging out in Buzz's office after the meal. You know, they like dropped him back off after the meal and we're like, hey, all right, let's show us what you got. All that cool stuff you were telling us about while we were eating. And so they're in there catching up and Buzz is able to show off too. But at one point when Buzz is demonstrating all these different inventions, we'll call them, to Kit and Baloo, they walk by a door that's labeled top secret. And obviously, like any good living being, they're like, hey, what's back there?
They're just like us.
They're just like us. Bears. They're just like us.
Just like us.
So yeah, naturally Buzz is like, no, keep it moving. I'm not going to show you what's in there. I'm sworn to secrecy and I'm very loyal to con industries. So let's just keep it moving. And all you got to know is that it's only my greatest invention ever. But hey, did you see this one over here? So eventually, after showing them a few more things, Baloo and Kit, they head out to get back to Hire for Hire, get back to work. And they're on their way back to the Sea Duck. They're joking about how cool it was to see Buzz, but also how wacky he is and how kind of like zany of a character he is. But also that it was very, very nice of him to give them some prototypes of his inventions as like little parting gifts. I'm not going to go into details on what these gifts are, but let's just say that throughout the episode, you see them constantly harming Kit and Baloo.
Oh no.
I mean, just dangerous items like a
defense contractor,
an electric toothbrush that like nearly decapitates Baloo, essentially. Like that's one example. So just that's sort of the theme here.
Always
with
happening.
Buzz. Yes.
Cool.
Shortly after Kit and Baloo leave there and head back to Hire for Hire, we see that Buzz is still in R&D over at Con Industries. And he is like frantically searching for supplies in a closet when he overhears from down the hallway a kind of like slimy and sleazy voice saying, yeah, I've got the $1,000,000. No, Con doesn't suspect a thing. By this afternoon, Miniversal will have in their possession one top secret project.
Oh.
And so Buzz, he's in the closet still, so he doesn't see who's saying this.
Mhm.
And Con Industries is a big company, and Buzz is always, he's an introvert down in his little shell in the lab. He
Mhm.
doesn't know what other people sound like or even really
Mm.
look like throughout the company. All he knows is that he hears someone is clearly a traitor or a spy inside of the company, and he
Mhm.
panics, running out of this closet, saying that he's got to tell Shere Khan immediately to like
Yeah.
protect the project. Again, he's a very loyal man, a loyal company
Mhm.
man, as he describes himself throughout the episode. But on his way to Shere Khan's office, just down the hall from this closet, he passes by none other than Simon Perry, who happens to be on a phone. There's like a little phone booth in this hallway.
Mhm.
And he stops as he sees Buzz running down the hallway saying, like, oh no, thief, gotta tell somebody, this
Uh-oh.
emergency, just like muttering out loud to himself as he's
Uh-huh.
running down the hall. Perry sees this and he's on the phone, like I said, and says into the phone, seems like a slight problem has developed.
Yep.
And so he hangs up the phone immediately and he presses like a security button and like alerts the
Oh
whole
no.
building to like lock down. And also he tells the guards that there's a thief in the building who needs to be stopped. And he
Mm.
tells the guards that it seems to be Buzz because I think
Oh
he hears
no.
Buzz saying thief,
Thief.
emergency, blah. And he's like, oh, he must be the thief because he's the one saying it,
Saying,
right? Like,
"Hi, I'm the thief. I'm the thief. I'm the
I'm the
thief."
thief. I'm the thief. Hey, bye, Perry. I'm the
I did it.
thief.
I did
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. Sounds believable, right? So before the building totally locks down, Buzz, he makes it up to Khan's office. But before he's able to get to Khan, he has to get past a much more difficult
Oh no.
obstacle. His very stern and strict secretary, Mrs. Snarly.
Hell
And
yeah.
let me tell you, Mrs. Snarly is my second favorite character in this show now after Wildcat.
Oh my God. Okay. Let's hear
Mrs.
it.
Snarly is this woman, I swear, got her like associate's degree in business management from like the Citadel because she is like an office manager in the military.
Hell yeah.
She
What
probably
kind of animal
knows.
is she?
I think she's a dog of some sort. It's kind of
Okay.
hard to tell. Like she kind of
Yeah.
looks like a dog, like
Ambiguous.
a yeah. It's ambiguous. She's an animal that I know, but so she has to like study judo and then on the side also studies tai chi and
Oh
then
God.
she has a certificate in typewriting as well because she can do it all. This secretary can do everything,
Hell yeah.
okay? Shere Khan knows how to hire them. He's like, I'm a busy man. I can't have anyone coming into my office. I've got things to handle, aka in this instance, he's like, I'm tending to my plant babies or something, or like to my garden, which
Uh-huh.
yeah, can relate. Awesome.
Yes.
But he's like, no one should come interrupt me unless
You
it
need to be able to
concerns more
fight them
than $1
off.
million. dollars. Yeah.
Yeah.
And she takes this seriously. So Buzz runs up there saying, hey, I need to get in. I need to talk to Mr. Khan immediately. This is an emergency. It's very important. And she's like, well, you're gonna have to come back like in a week or something. And he's like, no, no, no,
Hmm.
this is very important. He tries to run by her. She like scoops this dude up. She's constantly fighting people trying to get into
Hell
his
yeah.
office. Like she is just like, no, not having it. And before he's able to get past her, the security guards catch up to Buzz. They swoop in and they arrest him, or I guess they grab him. I guess it's not really arresting, but Perry is also up there too, saying, "Yep, that's
Mm.
him. Take him out of here." So Buzz also has like a little bit of a judo training or something too,
It's in the
because
orientation to work at Con Industry.
you have to know, unless you're a security guard, apparently,
Yeah.
because two big security guards, and I should say everyone else that works at Con Industries is a big cat. Like
Yeah.
these, I don't know what they are. I guess they're probably
I know like the
like a
pilots are
jaguars maybe
Panthers.
yeah
Yeah.
or yeah I guess panther's not jaguar yeah and or like maybe cougars, like they're all different colors but they're just
Yeah.
big
Oh,
cats,
yeah. There's just a bunch of big cats.
bunch of big cats everywhere. So these two very big cats arrest the small bird Buzz, who was just like a little nerdy looking like frizzled hair little bird, and he whips something out of his pocket. At first, I thought it was one of the security guard's batons, but it's
Oh
some like
no.
blunt instrument that he created.
The toothbrush.
So, It might as well. It's more dangerous than the toothbrush that he gave Baloo. And that thing almost killed Baloo. So these guards are trying to carry him out, Buzz out, and he like breaks free, grabs this blunt instrument, like baton type thing out of his pocket and whacks the guards in the face, knocking them out. And then he just like
Shit.
throws the baton on the ground and books it out of there. It's actually super badass.
Damn.
Like in a movie, this scene would have me like munching popcorn like crazy.
Yeah,
Like, oh my God,
hyped.
he's escaping.
Go, Buzz,
This
go.
is
Go,
amazing.
Buzz,
Let's
go.
go. Yeah. A nerd with some like physical skills too, you know? We love to see it. So
just like
this
us.
doesn't animals, anthropomorphized animals, just like us.
I can also be a nerd and do judo.
Yes, which also though is funny that we're saying that because that's like the definition of anthropomorphizing is making them like human.
Exactly.
See, that's like the definition is accurate.
We're correct.
We are
as always.
Just like anthropomorphized animals.
They're also right. Just like Buzz, he's right to beat the shit out of these guards.
Exactly. So he runs away from them and he goes back down towards the lab and the R&D department. And he breaks actually into the top secret room, or I guess it's not breaking into because he's the one in charge of this stuff anyway. So he goes into the top secret room where this top secret project is. And he decides to actually escape in the top secret project, which we still don't see. But all we hear is like a wall exploding, essentially, and like crumbling. And the security shoots down the door, literally like pulls out a gun and shoots down the door handle, opens it up and goes in there. And they just see like the wall totally crumbled and like a giant hole in it. And the top secret project and Buzz are gone.
He's not making himself not look like a thief.
Precisely, which moment. Exactly. Perry at this point, who is down there with security, he calls Shere Khan and he says that the top secret project's been stolen and he thinks that it was Buzz that did it. And also that he says he's suspected the old man, aka Buzz, for quite some time now. And so Khan, he's like, we'll put an order or put a reward of $10,000 to return the top secret project and Buzz directly to me. And he tells Perry not to disappoint him, not to let him down.
Okay. Also, sorry, real quick, Shere Khan being like,
I put a pause there anyway in the script.
Shere
like,
Khan
Grace is gonna have something to say.
Is being like, oh, this is only worth 10 grand to me. And then the sellers that like are trying to buy this top secret project are putting like $1 million for it. Like they see the announcement, they're like, did we just get gypped? Like, wait, we're way overpaying.
Exactly. Something's not adding up here.
Yeah, hold on.
Well, I was going to say too, well, for conversion rate, it's probably like a little more than 20,000, but no, it doesn't matter because
so
they
$1 million
said $1 million back then too.
Exactly.
So yeah, good point.
So whoever's making that deal saw the 10,000 or the 20,000 and was like, fuck, they're going to see that and they're going to try and barter it down.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, well, we'll put a pin in that. It'll come back up later. Great. The value of this and who wants it. So that evening or later that day, whatever, Kit and Baloo, they're back at Hire for Hire. They're getting ready for bed. And I think this is when Baloo is nearly being decapitated or like having his neck broken by the toothbrush. Good. And Kit comes in, natural, very good, Baloo, just like us. And Kit runs in and shows Baloo like the actual bounty or reward. I guess it was like put in the newspaper or something, or he picked it from a telephone post outside, like street urchins do.
Who knows what he's up to out there in those streets? Kit, he's got the underground network still to know who's who and what's what.
Exactly. So he very quickly was able to learn that Buzz has a hit out on him, essentially. he runs
Kit's
this
like, back in the day, I would pick this up right away and get that hit and get that. I mean, we should help our friend.
That money. It's funny, though, because, I mean, now that you say that, I'm like, is that why they decide to jump into action and help? Because Kit shows them.
That's why Kit's helping.
Yeah, right. Kit's like, ooh, $10,000. We just saw Buzz. I'm sure we could find him. And we could explain as to why he's probably innocent. So it's like a win-win. He stays alive and we get $10,000. So Baloo is trying to explain that Shere Khan obviously thinks that Buzz has stolen this project from him. And Baloo's like, yeah, I don't know. I don't believe it. I've known this guy my whole life, and he would never do anything wrong, much less be like a corporate spy and thief. He loves that company. Like he tells us literally every day. It's like his whole thing.
He like won't stop talking about it.
He's kind of getting annoying, actually. Especially because Baloo like hates his job. He hates working for Rebecca. He's like, it's kind of getting on my nerves.
I get it.
Kit is like, well, Baloo, you're the only one at this point besides Buzz who believes that he's innocent. So I guess Kit is implying that he doesn't know what to believe. Kind of awkward.
Yeah, including Kit. Kit's like, this guy's guilty as fuck.
Yeah, he's guilty as fuck. So you, Baloo, need to somehow prove that he's innocent because no one else believes you and him.
I want that 10 grand, so I don't care which he is.
Baloo agrees, though. He's like, you're right. I got to help my friend. He's in trouble. And clearly it's all some misunderstanding. I know Shere Khan. I know Buzz. I'm the perfect mediator for this situation.
Great.
But first we got to find him. But Baloo, being a very good friend of Buzz, he knows exactly where to go because he knows where Buzz's favorite hiding spot and like thinking spot is. It is apparently a cabin deep in the woods in the No Smoky Mountains.
Great.
So, yeah, of course. Yep. Why not? So they fly out to these mountains, which seem to be like pretty far away from Cape Suzette, very far away from civilization. And they land in the middle of the woods. And after they land, they have to hike a bit through the woods along a path that Baloo thinks he remembers taking in the past to get to this hideout. And on the way, they're running through all sorts of booby traps. Like, honestly, kind of tragically, one of them is like a bear trap. Which at first I was like, oh, that's crazy. And then I was like, oh shit, Baloo and Kit are bears. This is like this is actually dark. Really tragic, but it's like a giant bear trap. And it's so big that like the whole thing closes on Kit.
Oh god.
So it's like for like a Sasquatch type, like a massive bear. I don't know.
We'll tell ourselves.
Like exactly. But yeah, I was like, ooh, that's kind
harsh.
That's harsh. Yeah. Crazy that they put that in there in the show about bears. Anyways. So once they pass through a lot of these booby traps, though, Baloo's like, okay, we're definitely getting close, obviously, because I definitely remember having my foot almost chopped off last time I came here. So this has to be the right path.
Yeah.
So eventually, after a lot of high tech and very violent and creative, like Buzz types of booby traps are triggered around Baloo and Kit, they fall down, finally, a trap pit or like hole in the ground, and they land directly on top of Buzz in a secret cave laboratory type thing that he's got going on.
Okay.
In the mountains. Yeah, like I don't want to know what Buzz has seen to think that this is necessary.
Takes a lot of work, a lot of infrastructure, okay?
Apparently a lot of dynamite to like blow through the earth too. He fungineered the dynamite. That was
this is the most fun explosion you'll ever have. Guaranteed.
It's like It's a Small World After All is playing in the background.
Exploding.
Yeah. Yeah. So Buzz, he's very happy to see Kit and Baloo, even though they're literally on him. And he apologizes to them for all of the booby traps, saying that he would have like disarmed them if he knew that it was those two who were visiting. And Baloo and Kit, sorry, before I get there, makes me think too that like this is not the first time that Buzz has had to
no,
he's like, Baloo, I would have disarmed them.
Baloo was like, I've been here before and almost died. So like, LOL, Buzz.
One, Khan Industries must pay him a lot of money to be able to afford this and to like use it over and over. But two, what is he doing at Khan Industries? Again, they're defense contractors. Yeah, but like insane that he has all of this and is used to it. That's probably why he's always very nervous and on edge. Too.
Yeah,
this is not the first corporate spy he's been.
This paranoia seems correct. Seems like well placed, I would say.
Exactly. Buzz is actually a really relatable character. Yeah. For this modern day that we live in.
I also keep
So,
waiting for Buzz's argument of like them being like, you stole this top secret thing, and Buzz to be like, you can't steal ideas as his
you,
defense.
you can't steal creativity.
You can't steal
Amazing.
fun.
Which, like, Disney would definitely be the ones to write that into a script. Like, yeah,
And
you can't
also
steal
Disney
fun.
would be definitely the ones to disagree with that and sue you about stealing their
Exactly.
idea.
They would be exactly the ones to deploy that argument when it best suits their needs.
Yes,
So,
exactly.
this would be one of those occasions.
Yep.
So, like I said, Buzzy's very happy to see these two. And he says that he's like, sorry about all the booby traps. Would have turned him off if he knew
My
it was them.
bad.
Sorry, guys. Sorry about your cut off foot there. And after Baloo and Kit kind of get up and shake off all the dust and the blood and from the fall and everything, I assume, they help Buzz off the ground. And Kit, he looks up and he points towards the top secret project with amazement, like, whoa, what is that?
So we see it finally.
And we get, yes, our first sight on this magnificent, mysterious, state of the art, top secret project worth more than its weight in gold and money. It's going to be the thing that brings con industries back, baby, back to the top. Miniversal, never heard of them.
Heard of them.
This top secret project, Grace,
Yes.
it's a yellow go-go gadget type helicopter.
What? That's it?
That's it. I literally out loud when I was watching it, like, are you serious?
Come on. At least make it crazy looking. They were like, let's turn it yellow.
Yellow. So I will say, and I had to add the go-go gadget part because it's got these weird like pipes and stuff hanging out of it, and it looks different. Like it's clearly a helicopter, but it's also like
they just like super glued some stuff onto a helicopter.
sure, maybe, listen,
Maybe.
Buzz is on another level of
He sees what
creation.
we don't.
He does. He really does. But I guess to put it into perspective or to put this into the context of the show, right? Because it's a very time era ambiguous show, right? Like maybe this takes place in the 1930s. I think I've seen online some places.
Yeah.
Like the technology is definitely not modern and it's definitely not even, it's pre-50s for sure. And so I was like, okay, well, let's do a quick Wikipedia search here. Yeah, when exactly. So first of all, the term helicopter, like that specific term for like vertical flying vessels or whatever, has been used since at least 1861.
Oh.
So I was like, okay, well, that's not really new. And there was a point to, well, I'll get to that in a second, put a small pin in that. But so the term helicopter in and of itself isn't new at the time that this episode came out, or even at the time that the show is supposed to take place.
Yeah.
The designs for vertical flying machines dates back literally thousands of years to like 400 AD in like China with like little toys that kids would use. Yeah, not actually, they don't look like modern helicopters, but it was something that clearly, not like a plane, but some other, literally, it would just spin around. And then the modern like helicopter race, if you will, led to what like we now visualize as a helicopter was really like the early 1900s to 1920s, and then full-scale production of the first helicopter, or the first helicopter that was produced at full scale, like manufacturing, assembly line, etc., mass production for, of course, the United States Army, Air Force, was in 1942. So like,
okay, so he's right on the cusp.
Yeah. I mean, early 1900s to 1920s, like some people were already starting to get stuff off the ground a little bit.
Yeah, but
literally,
they were still experimenting with it a little
exactly.
bit.
And I looked at some pictures. None of them looked anything like this. They were not, metal clad. They didn't have like wheels and like guns coming out of them, and they couldn't go more than like 2,000 feet either. So
I would say this is a nod to then con industry telling this to the U.S. government by World War II times.
Exactly, literally, because on the one hand, it's like, so it's it's not like a new idea because helicopters are clearly in the orbit, but this type of helicopter would be something that would like
the
make
war
this defense
helicopter.
contractor exactly the war helicopter. So that's
again, he's fungineering.
He's fun. He's a fungineer. Okay. Helicopters are fun.
They're so fun.
War is not,
helicopters?
but yeah, but war helicopters are. And then think about it. We'll turn them into action figures. We'll do propaganda for kids. This is
endless fun.
It's endless fun. Exactly. Endless fun. So yeah, Kit and Baloo, they're shocked when they see this thing like, whoa, what is it? But they're also very confused looking at it because Kit's like, oh man, this looks like it flies. What is this thing? It's got all these gadgets. And Baloo's like, I don't know, man. It's not a plane. I don't know. But Buzz comes up to them like, yeah, it's amazing, right? I think I'll call it either a helicopter or a Cuisinart, which I wasn't going to throw that in there. But being a cooking nerd, I had to throw that in there. And again, here we go again with like product placements, almost like name dropping. We've got Smith & Wesson,
an appliance dings in the background of his lab or something. Which is the Cuisinart.
So Baloo, he's confused. Like, yeah, okay, that's cool, but a little nerdy. Next, show me something else. But Buzz explains that this is, in fact, a flying machine. And Baloo's like, go on. Okay. I'm listening, actually. But either way, Kit and Baloo, they're totally fascinated by this thing as Buzz is explaining how it works to them and like bouncing around the cave, very excited about what he's created and how it's going to change the game for, he didn't say this, but for the defense industry, defense contractors, for Khan.
For war.
So Kit,
great.
For war, exactly. Kit stops him and explains like, hey, that's great. And I'm glad that you're really proud of this and good job, good work, I suppose, whatever the fuck it is. But you are in really big trouble when Khan is going, you're going to be in big trouble when Khan discovers that you have this after all. We came here to prove you didn't steal it. What do we do now? You did steal it. There clearly you have a good reason for stealing this, right?
We hope.
We hope, please do tell. But Buzz, again, like I said, he's more on the sciencey side of life, right? He's not about like engaging with people and understanding how people think. He's a little antisocial. So he's unfortunately kind of in this delusional state, thinking that like, oh, no, like Khan knows what's happening. Like I've worked for him for so long and he has to trust me. Like, of course he knows that I took it to protect it and that like someone's trying to steal it. Like Khan has to know this, doesn't he? Like he's not at all worried about the bounty that has been put on him at this point.
Yes. And or that, like, someone did try to steal it. Khan's eyes.
According to Khan, yeah. And he just like moves on, like continuing to like draft new ideas for new creations in his notebook. Like, no, I'm good. I'm fine. I'm just like hiding here till everything cools off. And then I'll go explain to Khan. Like he knows we're good. Great. It's fine. Electric toaster or something like that. Like, I don't know. And at this point, Baloo and Kit kind of look at each other like,
They're like, quick side chat.
Yeah, let's sidebar over here while he is in Delulu land. So Baloo whispers to Kit like, hey dude, stay here and keep an eye on Buzz, please, because I'm gonna go and talk to Shere Khan and just explain the whole thing to him. Like, I'll talk to him, I'll come back and we'll get everything smoothed over, but please keep your eye on Buzz, please.
Hello, child. Keep your eye on this crazy man.
Well, it's like, unfortunately, the alternative is, hello, child, go fly back to Cape Suzette and tell the chairman and executive of Khan Industries.
Shouldn't have brought this child with him.
Where's Rebecca? Like, or even Wildcat, I feel like would somehow be helpful here.
Yeah.
But yeah, this, the plan, it sounds about as good as you make it sound there. Great. Hello, child. Watch this crazy person in this cave on this remote mountain.
Surrounded by weapons that are meant to kill you.
Yeah. So yeah, Baloo gets out of there. He hops back in the sea dock and he goes back to Cape Suzette. And he gets to Khan Industries and he runs right up to Shere Khan's office. But of course, he's got to get past our girl.
Not on her watch.
Mrs. Snarly. I just, and I gotta say, part of me respects her so much too, because, well, and maybe you as well. Like, we were assistants at one time. We knew how you had to protect your boss's space, their calendar, their office. Like, you are seeing Miss Snarly.
You are the line in the sand.
Exactly. You are you're the last line of defense too. Like, you're the first and last. It's like, no. You will not get in my boss's office unless you get past me.
Means it.
She means it. She's the first, last, all of those lines in the sand. And that sand will suffocate you and kill you. Yeah. So he tries to sneak by her. Obviously, Baloo does in a number of ways. Hilariously, one of which includes by wearing drag, a personal favorite of his, of course.
How convenient, Baloo.
How convenient. Oh, I just happened to have Becky's dress and wig in the sea duck.
My entire fit is always ready. My go bag is just my drag bag.
It's like multiple drag outfits. That's it. And like fabulous makeup as well.
Yes, naturally.
That's it. But yeah, he doesn't have luck. Miss Snarly, she's not letting him get by. I will say one other attempt that he makes is putting himself in a box and delivering himself to the office. And she's like, it must be the new push pin cushion. That's really hard to say for some reason.
Very
apparently,
hard.
The push pin cushion that Khan ordered. So she whips out this massive push pin that's 4 feet long and starts Jedi sword working with it and stabbing the box until she stabs Baloo, forcing him to jump out of the box and proving that she knew. She just dusts her fingernails off and puts the pen back behind her back and sits back at her
did
desk.
I stab you?
Oh, sorry. Get on the calendar if you want to talk to Shere Khan. So yeah, like I said, she trains in judo or something, and fencing and all types of stuff. Fencing. Just do not get in Miss Snarly's way. She does. But eventually, Mr. Perry, the cheetah, he comes up to Khan's office as well, and he overhears Baloo explaining to Mrs. Snarly, please, you gotta let me in. Buzz is innocent, and he's hiding with the secret project to protect it. He didn't steal it. He's not evil. You have to let me explain this. And so Perry, he interrupts Baloo. He walks up to him. He's like, hey, whoa. Did you say you know where Buzz is? And Miss Snarly's like, do you want me to have him arrested or have him taken away, Perry? And Perry's like, no. I got it from here. Thank you, Miss Snarly, but I'll take it. I'll take Baloo. So Perry tells Baloo that Buzz, he's a good friend of his too. He's like, you're friends with Buzz. I'm friends with Buzz. And I just want to help him like any good friend would do.
Nope.
So if you can take me to see Buzz, my good friend, we'll get this whole thing, we'll get the whole misunderstanding cleared up. It'll be fine. We'll just keep it moving. And so Baloo, he's getting excited by hearing this because he's never met Perry a day in his life. I know we love Baloo, but he's not the most. He's pretty naive. Yeah. Naive, dumb. Depends on what day of the week. Exactly. Yeah. So Baloo's excited, awesome. This was easier than I thought. We're going to get this all cleared up. Buzz is going to be fine. So he's like, awesome. Let's go, Perry. I'll fly you to Buzz right now. I know exactly where he is. But Perry's like, no. Let's take my plane. Leave your plane here. We'll take mine because then I can also write it off, write the mileage off.
Business expense.
Of course he does. Yes, say that. In any event, they head off in Perry's plane back to the No Smoky Mountains. And Baloo is in the plane talking with Perry God, I'm so relieved. I really thought Buzz was going to be in a whole host of trouble. You don't know how much pressure this is taking off of me. And once they land near the mountain, Baloo, he leads Perry and a trio of armed guards through the woods to the trap pit that leads to Buzz's hidden underground lab. Buzz welcomes Baloo and his new guests. And he's like, hey, welcome. Thanks for coming by. And Baloo says, hey, I brought these guys from Khan Industries. They're here to help you. And Perry's excited. He's like, cool. let me show you around. Can I get you anything? But as soon as Perry and the guards get up, Perry immediately orders the guards to arrest Buzz and Baloo.
Yeah.
And Perry is like, the top secret project is mine at last.
Yeah.
Because the guards, they literally have guns out, pointed at Buzz and Baloo's backs, walking them over to be tied up in a corner of the cave.
Oh, in the cave where no one else knows the location of, except for now
these three guards and Perry, who once Perry gets his $1 million, is clearly going to just pay off these guards. And so as the guards go to take over or go to tie up Buzz and Baloo over in another corner of the cave, we do see Kit pop his head out from behind. Exactly, like forgot he was there, right? He apparently got tired of Buzz and just went to go take a nap somewhere. He's like, this dude's wearing me out. I'm just going to go sleep behind this pile of rocks.
Babysitting's exhausting. Gotta go.
So he pops his head up from behind this pile of rocks after the guards kind of walk away, revealing that he is safe and just hiding until he has the right time to help out.
Okay, good.
So the guards and Perry, they must not be too smart because, and you'll laugh when you see this, they have decided to tie Baloo and Buzz in like the most ridiculous way where they're both still standing up on their legs. Their legs aren't tied up. It's
so
only like they can walk around. It's just like around their arms and chest, and like their hands are tied behind their backs that way, and like their wrists are tied too. But like they can walk, they can run,
kick.
They could kick. Yeah, they could walk over to a sharp rock and get and like cut the ties off. Like there's so many things that
they're so mobile still
wrong. They're 100%. They're 75% mobile right now. Like, so whatever, but it works in their favor, I guess. Anywho, Baloo, he's trying to like smart talk Perry. Obviously, he's being sassy. He's like, he's feeling big compared to this business suit wearing cheetah. So he says these things saying like, scratch my butt or whatever, like insulting him. Like the kid's way of saying kiss my ass, I think.
I love that. I'm going to start using that. Scratch my butt.
It's good. Yeah, he's like, I got an itch back here. Can you scratch it? And he like turns around and bends over in front of Perry. So scratch my butt, Perry.
That's really funny.
So instead of scratching it, Perry just kicks him and like violently assaults him. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well.
No, he kind of asked for it.
Yeah, it's not great.
And when Baloo is like kicked off screen, Perry then violently grabs Buzz by the collar, lifts him up so that he's like face to face with him, and tells him that since Buzz is the only one who can fly this top secret this helicopter, I'm not gonna call it a top secret project anymore. Since he's the only one who can fly the helicopter, he's going to help Perry get the helicopter to the Miniversal Corporation.
Ooh, that's a smart way to keep yourself valuable.
It is.
Sure, you're the only one who can fly it. Okay.
Yeah.
That's what he's doing.
No, but Buzz refuses. No, so Perry orders Buzz to do this. Buzz isn't like, hey, no.
Oh, no, but that's what I'm saying. Of like, you can't kill him because you need him.
Exactly. True. And yeah. Very good point. And Perry realizes this too. So Buzz refuses, saying that, again, he's a loyal company man. He loves Con Industries. And he won't give in even if Perry, got it, dude. He won't give in even if Perry tortures him or tries to torture it out of him. Perry is like encouraging Buzz to change his mind, saying that, look, either way, Khan's going to blame you, Buzz, for everything getting out, for all of these unfortunate events. And he bargains with Buzz, saying that if you help me, I'll hook you up with a job at Miniversal. It'll be fine. You won't even have to worry about Khan anymore. And he gives Buzz a moment to think this over, pushing him and Baloo down to the ground and walking away to continue to inspect the helicopter with the guards. So after he walks away, Kit pops up from some rocks behind Baloo and Buzz, and he starts cutting them loose immediately with Buzz's Swiss Army chainsaw.
Oh, that's what Kit was doing. He was over there looking at those weapons. He was napping. He was like, what's this I can take?
This looks fun. And so while this Swiss Army chainsaw is conveniently pocket-sized, the thing packs the same amount of decibels as a full-size chainsaw. in a
Design
cave
flaw.
that echoes,
Oh
slight
my God,
design
in a
flaw.
cave.
So the guards and Perry immediately hear this.
Immediately.
Immediately. But thankfully, somehow Kit is able to get Baloo and Buzz untied. He gets the ropes all cut off and gets them untied before the guards and Perry can make it back over to them. So there's a bit of a chase going throughout the cave between all these folks, of course. And Baloo, though, he's able to eventually knock out, like one by one, all of the guards with some blunt force item that he found
Got a
in
lot
the
of them in this
lab.
cave.
They're all, you don't love to see it, but like, yeah, head trauma abounds in this episode. So in the scuffle, though, of like knocking out these guards one by one, he accidentally also kind of knocks Buzz out too.
Oh no.
Which, again, not great. Yep. And it sends Buzz into like a state of temporary amnesia. So he like forgets who he is, where he is, what's going on.
How to drive the helicopter, perhaps.
How to drive the helicopter, fly, whatever the helicopter.
Great.
But now that the guards are knocked out. Well, yeah, right. And I'm not exactly sure where Perry is. I think maybe Perry told the guards to chase them and he like stood back to protect the helicopter or something. I don't know. But Buzz and Baloo and Kit steal the guards' outfits. They put them on and they go back out of the cave to walk towards the helicopter. Kit too. He's like drowning in it. They're all so like misshapen on them. Like even Baloo's is like too big somehow, even though he's bigger. That like their hats are massive. It's
okay, great.
Nothing is right here. But Perry is high on this $1 million that he's about to get because he doesn't even notice. As soon as these three walk out of the cave, Perry is like, "Did you find them? Did you find the prisoners? Where are they?" But as they keep walking towards them and Perry's saying this, Baloo, I don't know where he gets it from, but he just pulls a brick out of his back pocket and whacks Perry over the head with it. Yeah, he just hits him in the head with a brick, like in the face and head, just knocking him out immediately. Wow. And so then I guess it's better than a gun, I guess.
I mean, but like, people complain that there's violence in kids' shows now.
Yeah, they were way more violent back then.
That's wild.
Like, these kids' shows walked so that, like, GTA could run as far as I see
the animators and shit of GTA watched this, and they said, brick in the back pocket.
Cool, let's do it. Let's also make it so they can steal cars. Why not?
Yeah. You break the window with the brick, and then you break the person driving the car also with the brick.
Awesome.
Steal it.
Yeah. Toss them on out. So, yes, Buzz, Baloo, and Kit, they run onto the helicopter. They get past Perry, who's knocked out, of course, and they try to escape again. But, like you noticed before, Buzz still doesn't really know who he is. And he's like really foggy still. He kind of has amnesia. And so he's not able to fly this helicopter out of here. But Baloo remembers that Buzz described it as a flying vehicle type thing. And he's like, all right, well, it can't be that different from a plane, right? And he's like, well, here we go. We're trying it. And he just starts pressing all these buttons. And eventually it is able to take off. And so the guards and Perry wake up from their various head trauma inducing naps, their various concussions, just as Baloo begins to take off in this helicopter. And one of the guards, he grabs onto the bottom rail of the helicopter and is like literally and they're also in like tank tops and boxers, of course, like with hearts and stuff.
Before you even said hearts, I knew it was hearts.
You knew there were hearts on them. Yes. And so he's like dangling from this helicopter in a tank top and like heart boxers. Attempting to also dodge gunfire because Perry orders the other two guards to start shooting. Yes. He's like, shoot at them, shoot them down. And when he does this, you see the guard who's like dangling from the helicopter, like,
you're like, no.
Yes.
Also, you're going to shoot down the thing that you need to sell and destroy it?
Yeah. And with Buzz being on board, I feel like at one point there is a point where the guards are like shooting at Buzz and Perry is like, no, don't shoot him. We need him alive.
We need him. The idea,
But at this point, now that the helicopter, which is like what you brought up before, like, oh, you can't kill him. That's a good, a good chip in in Buzz's hat here, like, can't kill me, you need me to fly. But I think now that the helicopter is like off the ground and like they're about to go back to Khan Industries, they're like, fuck it. Like,
fuck it all. Yeah.
We're sacrificing the whole thing. I can bring a part of the helicopter back to prove that at least like we found it, but like, he attacked us and we had to.
Exactly. It's all out of my hands.
Exactly. So yeah, he orders the other guards on the ground to shoot the helicopter down and to possibly also kill the third guard.
I mean, he didn't even notice that the guard wasn't.
Yeah,
he didn't give a fuck about these guards.
Literally, no. He doesn't. Classic corporate board member.
Classic, doesn't care about those underlings.
So yeah, Baloo, he's doing a good job though, dodging all this stuff. He is a great pilot. So he's, you know, swerving, bobbing, weaving around the mountains, over the mountains, and this guard is still just dangling. With bullets whizzing by him, flying all over the place. And eventually, though, the gunfire forces Baloo to kind of like descend a little bit to the point where the guard is able to like fling off of this bottom rail.
And roll.
Thankfully, he lands on Perry and the other guard, so they do break his fall. But still, there was a moment where I was like,
goodbye.
Okay, yeah, literally, goodbye. He's gone. They just showed that. No, thankfully, they didn't. But Baloo, he's like, all right, I think I got the hang of this thing now. I just dodged like 5,000 bullets and flew by 3 mountains. I think I can get us back to Cape Suzette.
Yeah.
So he's able to get the helicopter back up and get them safely out of the No Smoky Mountain. And seeing now that the bears and Buzz have successfully escaped in this helicopter, Perry immediately gets on the phone and calls like mercenaries,
I mean, they're defense contractors. That's the entire thing about this episode. So yeah, probably mercenaries.
And like he instructs them that the thieves are heading back towards Khan Industries and orders the like fighter pilots that are like casually under Khan's banners on call. Orders them to blow the thieves out of the sky. Which, as you said again before, doesn't seem smart if your goal is to sell the thing. But again, I think he's beyond like, that now. He's like, now I might as well just stay on Khan's good side and complete this task for him.
But like they'll rebuild it and then I'll send it to you.
Isn't nothing. Yeah, exactly. And they still have the plans for it, so they can remake it. But yeah, I don't want to skip by the part where we say that Khan has an entire army. Like these big cats are literally in uniform. Like they're in fighter pilot uniforms with like the company logo on it. They all hop into these high tech like fighter pilot jets. I mean, it is a full military, corporate, private military, which is synonymous with MERC. Spell it, kids.
Yeah, I mean, this feels. If it hadn't been a private mercenary, I would have said, "What's this supposed to be saying?" But yeah, the fact it feels less surprising that it is there. It would feel more surprising if that's not who they called.
Yeah, true. I mean, if it was like the government, it would be equally as, I guess, disturbing because it would be like a private company being able to direct the military around, which that sounds crazy, doesn't it? But also, it puts into that uncomfortable laugh was amazing.
What a concept.
How crazy would that be? But it also like makes the time period ambiguity that much more ambiguous because to me this seems like future dystopian type shit. Like this is what you see in like the Alien universe with like the Weyland company, like Weyland-Yutani has like their own military they send into space.
Deploying.
Like the Resident Evil movies with like the Umbrella Corporation, all these like dystopian future companies have loosely
based on reality.
It's not, So maybe they were predicting things. They were like, oh no, it's in the 1930s, so we're like not making fun of or like digging at anyone in particular.
Show was in the 90s too, like you know, peak toppling other governments,
anti-corporation, that too time,
Wow. Oh,
Mm-hmm.
Disney.
So yeah,
Oh, Disney.
you love, hate, you see it. You see it. Yeah, that's like
Again, we say all the time in these shows that raised us, like, how did we end up the way we are? And then we see this shit, us sitting there
exactly.
being like, wait, should corporations
Hmm.
be able to deploy their own private military?
Yeah,
They're
just like
going after
because
our heroes. They must be bad.
in open airspace too,
Yeah, nonetheless.
It's yeah. So we'll continue here. We're coming to the end, and don't worry, we're not done talking about this corporate military yet.
Good. Okay, yeah, I'm
But
not done thinking about it.
yeah, don't worry. Hold your thoughts because they're going to come back up in just a second. So, thankfully, in the midst of flying back towards Cape Suzette, Buzz's memory does come back to him, and not too much later after they finally leave the No Smoky Mountain. And obviously, at this point, Baloo is like, "Oh my God, thank God! Like, I know I'm getting the hang of this, but please, Buzz, take over. Like, take the wheel." But before Buzz can get back up to the pilot seat, Kit is like, guys, you might want to look behind us first." And they turn around, and yes, they see the aforementioned corporate
Yes.
fighter pilots coming at
Casual.
them, literally opening fire immediately,
Okay.
shooting multiple bullets through the helicopter,
Okay.
literally through. Like, yeah, you hear the cat, and you see like the light coming out of the machine guns, and you see bullet holes all throughout, lining throughout the helicopter. Very adorable. And Baloo, he's back to swerving and weaving through the air to try to avoid imminent death.
Yep.
And obviously, a very wild and a very violent chase ensues with multiple pilots, we can assume, losing their lives over the open waters outside of Cape Suzette.
They're never to be found again.
I will say there's one clip where I don't know what Baloo does, but he forces two of these fighter pilots to head into each other, like head on, crash into each other. Massive explosion.
Those families aren't going to get a pension on this.
Cameras pan away back to Baloo, who's like, "I'm getting the hang of this." And I was like, did they just show two people get murdered? Thankfully.
There's probably multiple pilots on that plane too.
Yeah, there's like the assistant or whatever behind them. It's a whole crew. Thankfully, though, it does show people like ejecting in parachutes.
What, into the shark-infested ocean?
Yeah. Oh, wait, is this? Because this happens in my next episode too. So I'm trying to remember. I'm like, am I getting it mixed up? I put a pin in this, but next week we're going to see something similar. Pilots die. Okay, it's not good.
They're expendable in this entire show.
Dangerous line of work, but nonetheless, we see a lot of plane crashes, a lot of explosions. We do see at least a couple of deployed parachutes. So there are some survivors.
Get gunfire through them. Crossfire, gunfire.
Just like fly down. But you did make a good point too, into like shark infested waters. So
yeah, who's coming to get them? Khan's not sending extra people to get him out of the water.
That sounds expensive.
Fuck.
So, anyways, the pilots, they're like still literally firing at this helicopter in the middle of the skies of downtown Cape Suzette at this point.
Oh, it's downtown now.
Now they're downtown and they continue firing. They're weaving through or over and around buildings. The fighter pilots are still opening fire in the middle of the city.
Downtown.
Open sky, public airspace, as far as I'm concerned.
Yes.
This private military force is just doing their own thing. And eventually Baloo is like, okay, this might be dangerous. There are people literally underneath us and around us in these buildings. So he flies back over the water, hopefully trying to save some people. And at this point, their helicopter gets a radio call from Perry, who reveals that he is in the plane or the jet, whatever, right behind them. And is pretty much giving them a countdown until he kills them, shoots them out of the sky and kills them. And they're back over the ocean now.
Populous.
So, now they're back. I was going to say. So
middle of Times Square.
Oh, God. Oh, God. So
okay, well, that's
Baloo,
8% better, I guess.
slightly, ever so slightly. So Baloo's able to outmaneuver Perry in this chase. I don't
Okay.
think Perry's a pilot. I guess he is enough to like, I don't know, be flying,
Not
but he's not as good
die.
as Baloo. Yeah, to not
Yeah.
die yet. But Baloo is good. He's outmaneuvering him,
Mhm.
and Perry's trying to chase him. But this sends Perry nosediving or in a tailspin, perhaps, if
If
you
you
will,
will.
directly into the ocean.
Okay.
And so now, Perry being the last pilot, quote unquote, who was
Uh,
following the helicopter, Baloo and them, they're free from all these mercenaries that were on their tail chasing them down. So they fly back over to Khan Industries to
okay.
explain everything. But before we get in there, we see, or before they get in there, we see Khan in his office in a meeting, actually joined by another Bengal tiger in a very nice clean suit by the
Uh-huh.
name of Mr. Sultan. And
Okay.
he says, this Mr. Sultan, or he doesn't say it, but we find out shortly after that Mr. Sultan is the owner of the Miniversal
Oh,
Corporation.
shit.
Yes. And
Okay.
Mr. Sultan tells Khan that he's come by to send his condolences for losing the big secret project that he knows Khan had been working on for so long. Like, I'm so sorry you lost that, Khan.
Uh-huh.
But he adds on in a kind of happenstance way that just so happens that, I'm working on a secret project of my own and it should be
Fair.
developed any minute now, like looking down at his
Fair.
watch, like literally any second now,
Don't put
I'm
those
going to get
cards on the
my.
table like this, you
Mm-mm. And so,
fool.
yes, very, very much. You got to know when to hold them, know when to
Yeah.
fold
The
them.
entire time. Why would you go reveal yourself like this, you dummy?
Exactly. And at this point, Mrs. Snarly, our
Hell yeah.
favorite, our OG, she interrupts this meeting. She busts in there and she's like, Mr. Khan, someone's trying to meet with you. They keep calling and saying it's urgent. And Khan's like, I'm in a meeting now, Mrs. Snarly. I'm
Mhm.
sorry, I'm very busy. And at that exact moment, well, before that, Mrs. Snarly looks at Mr. Sultan like, what the fuck is this asshole doing here? She's like,
Ew.
meeting. I'm the only one who matters in Khan's life. But also,
Yep.
she clearly just knows that Shere Khan hates this dude. So she's like,
Yep.
why are you
Like,
here?
but I have to
She's
let you
very
meet with them.
protective.
Yeah.
Exactly. Protective mama bear, mama dog, whatever she is.
Mama
Still not
animal.
sure. Mama animal, mama secretary. So at this exact moment, though, Baloo crashes the
Hell
helicopter
yeah.
into
Great.
Khan's
Big
office because, of
entrance,
course, he's got
baby.
the nice glass, all window
Yep.
wall behind his desk. And yes, a very big and grand entrance. And Miss Snarly looks at Khan like, why don't you tell him that yourself? Like you're
This
busy?
was the appointment.
Tell him then, okay? I love this woman so much. And so Baloo, he just like casually steps out of the helicopter with Khan's office like destroyed around him. And he's like, hey,
Fires around
Connie, how
him.
you
Blood and
Shit
like
falling off the wall, glass
shrapnel from the
everywhere.
mercenaries.
Yeah, still somehow falling off the helicopter. But Baloo was just like, "Hey, Connie, how you doing, man?
Hey,
Long time
bud.
no see. What's up, dude? I like the office. It was looking good before we
You
got
should
here."
redecorate soon.
He's like, "I think this thing belongs to you, right? This helicopter." And the team, but mostly Buzz at that point,
Uh,
is able to explain the entire situation to Khan, and of course
oh,
implicates Sultan and the Miniversal
right there.
company or corporation in the process. Yes.
Yep.
And Khan just looks over at Sultan, and Sultan doesn't deny it. He just kind of is like,
Yeah, I kind of
yeah,
just told you that actually, so it's
yeah, I was
awkward.
trying to buy it from someone at your company. And at that exact moment, Harry catches up to them and he runs into the office dripping wet from coming straight from the ocean after crashing, no tail spinning,
Taste
rather, his
spinning, yes.
plane into the ocean. And he's trying to plead his innocence. He's like, I did it, Mr. Khan. I did it. Like wiping water off of him and everything.
Uh-huh.
Like at risk of life and limb, I got your secret
Blech.
project back. I saved everything. I know. Freaking barf.
Please.
So much barfing. And he's like, I did it. I saved you. And of course, at this moment, Sultan, sitting on
Yeah.
in the chair in the
He's gonna
corner,
turn right
stands up
around.
He does. He stands up and blurts out, "What kind of double cross is this? I paid you $1 million for that top secret project."
Yep.
Thus exposing and confirming Perry's lies to Shere Khan. And Perry, he didn't see Mr. Sultan sitting in the room when he walked in there. So he's shocked, like, well, what are you doing here? Sorry. And at this point, the camera just zooms in on Khan, who's calmly like, well, well, well. And that's that. Like, that's it. That's all we see.
Wow. Sultan and Khan killed Perry.
And knowing what happened to Wilbury just for forgetting his presentation at the beginning of this episode, I am going to go out on a limb and say that Perry is no longer living. Perry is no longer alive.
Yeah, look, Khan and Sultan were like, look, we both are going to continue running these companies and we know it. I've tried to steal your, info before. You always try to steal mine. It's just the way it works. But we do have one thing we can agree on, this scapegoat.
This exactly.
And that we've never
under the bus
before.
Exactly. But so after that, Khan zooms in on Perry there, and we assume he murders Perry there.
Yep.
We do see Buzz, Baloo, and Kit outside of Khan's office a little bit later, celebrating that Buzz was able to get his job back and his record is cleared, and all the misunderstandings are, those are Khan's under good. We're all good now. Under the rug, exactly. Water under the bridge. And Buzz is thanking Baloo and Kit for all of their help and saying that, he's a really good friend for doing all of that for him. But he immediately, before Baloo can thank him in return for being a good friend and give him a hug, Buzz just runs off to brainstorm more ideas and stuff. And it's actually, at first I laughed, and then it's actually really sad because the camera zooms in on Baloo and being like, well, you're a great friend too when you're here. And I was like, oh, poor Baloo. Oh, it was so sad, actually. I was like, wow,
wait, this was a story of friendship?
Yeah, I guess. And it's in his own way, Buzz is showing that he's a great friend. Baloo obviously is showing he's a great friend because he just went through all that shit to save Buzz. But Baloo is also saying that he's going to stick around and keep being Buzz's friend, even though Buzz doesn't even he's in his own world, right? He's a scientist. He doesn't understand how to socially interact with people. But Baloo still understood it. He was like, oh, that's the nicest thing Buzz has ever said to me. And he's like, you're such a good friend, ... when you're here. Or
wow, so this wasn't even...
He's also... Go ahead. Sorry. Yeah.
I thought this was going to be, again, a classic anti-corporation story, but it was just a story about how to be a better friend. It's really a story of
friendship. It really is at the end. Yeah. And it's even sadder because the way that Baloo says that, when you're here / when you're around or whatever he says, he's saying it clearly as a comment on Buzz's mental state.
Oh my God.
It's he leaves the world entirely when he's doing this scientific stuff. Yeah. So it's also Buzz implying that he maybe has some sort of cognitive, or not cognitive, but maybe some sort of antisocial sort of disorder or social disorder.
Yeah, come
or
back to Earth here, buddy.
Yeah, exactly. He's like, man, when you're down on Earth here, when you're here, when you're present, you're such a good friend. Yeah. So,
wow.
Yeah,
Disney, this episode fucked me up.
What the fuck? Yeah, exactly.
In the last 5 minutes, really.
Literally, it's the last line. So, but actually, you have that emotional pool, and then it gets funny again because Baloo and Kit, they're then trying to leave the office, and Khan walks out and gives them reward money as a token.
Kit's finally.
I know. He's like, that's the only reason why I was only here. Jesus, $10,000. Thank you. And they're happy about this, obviously. Baloo is always trying to get money so he doesn't have to work for Becky anymore. Yeah. And so they start to leave. They get on the elevator. But Mrs. Snarly is like, up, hold on. Don't get too far. We've got some expenses to settle out first. Which, again, a classic trope or theme in this show. Baloo gets a lot of money. Someone comes up to him and says, hold on, Uncle Sam is here. Don't go too far away. In this case,
Auntie Snarly's here.
Auntie Snarly. She's like, so let's see. We've got the broken windows in Mr. Khan's office. We've got the damage to Mr. Khan's office. We've got repairs that need to be done to the top secret project. And you also parked a Cuisinart in a no Cuisinart parking zone.
Oh my God.
Oh, yeah. She pretty much takes every single dollar
Takes it right
back out of his hands.
I love this trope.
Baloo is obviously pissed and just starts bawling and crying out loud as the elevator makes its way back down to the lobby. And Kit's just like patting him on the back, like, that's all right, Papa Bear. We'll get him next time. And that is the end of the episode.
Baloo's had a really hard day.
He's had a hard life.
Baloo just wanted to help his friend. Wow.
And it just it never goes that way.
Yeah, no, it still ended kind of sad.
It did, actually. It did.
Okay,
I'm
now
so
it's
sad
back.
about the whole, like, when you're here thing.
It's back to a statement on corporations that in the end they leave you feeling empty and sad.
Yeah, exactly.
We came full
They're
circle.
never actually going to give you the full product that they
don't
promise.
Care about you. Yeah, no. You're not
so yeah, it did come full circle in a way, but they had to throw that like tearjerker in there randomly. And
again,
obviously
last 5 minutes.
A lot of other death, but yeah.
A lot of violence.
A lot of violence.
Wow, well, great job.
Thank you. Mm-hmm.
This is a sad episode.
I know. Right?
Damn. Wow. Yeah. Well, I can't wait to watch it and be sad, I guess.
Yeah, it's fine. It's only momentary sadness. I don't know words. Sometimes I exit out of my script and then the words they leave me.
They're gone.
But it's fine because you'll be laughing too much about everything else that happens.
About all the other death. Yes.
About the death, the actual death and destruction and the the corporate espionage and terrorism or whatever. Yeah, but that's a common theme in this show, as we've discovered so far. And I'm sure that some of those notes will hit in your episode next week, your last episode, right?
It is my last episode.
Yep.
Yes, it's my last TaleSpin episode, indeed.
So we'll gear up for that. And until then, who should they tell about this podcast?
I think you should tell a secretary or like an office assistant about this show. It sometimes can be really fucking tedious work. They need a podcast to listen to while they're dealing with the egos, dealing with the shit. It's not an easy job. The job kind of sucks, actually, to be someone's assistant. So,
agreed.
Let them know about this. They can have some joy in one, at least headphone, while they're hearing someone bitch in the other.
Bitch in the other, exactly. And maybe they'll be like Mrs. Snarly. They'll be like, you know what? Maybe if I just reframe my perspective on this, maybe if I just start beating up people who try to talk to my boss, I'll enjoy this job a lot more.
Yes. Yeah. Who else should they tell?
Man, I thought of someone during the episode, like as I was reading it out, and then it lost me. So, I don't know. Don't tell anyone. No, I'm joking.
What the fuck? How dare you?
No, instead tell someone who sits on a board of directors.
Ooh, that's good.
Yeah, any board, anyone you can think of. You probably know someone, maybe.
Maybe,
I don't know.
If not,
if you're important enough. No, I'm joking.
You're like us. Is what she's saying there.
Yeah, basically, no.
Wow, great. Excellent. I agree.
See if they can relate. See if they've ever wanted to eject someone out of the building for getting their
Probably.
briefcase.
We've all dealt with boards. I want to eject them sometimes. Yep, relatable.
Yes.
Wow.
Cool.
Great.
And until next time.
Bye.
Bye. Thanks for tuning in to Saturday Morning Mysteries.
If you enjoyed this episode, please share, rate, review, leave us a like, and drop a comment. We post episodes every Saturday and bonus tune tangents whenever we feel like it. So please subscribe so you don't miss the shenanigans.
And if you want to follow us on YouTube, click the bell under the YouTube subscribe button to receive notifications when new videos are posted.
And if you want to subscribe to the podcast, we have no idea what you're listening to us on, so just hit the big subscribe button on whatever app you're using. We believe in you.
Give us a follow on Twitter and Instagram at SatmornMist, all the abreves, and let us know if you have any episode or show requests by emailing SaturdayMorningMysteries@gmail.com.
Thanks to Jenna Kendall for the logo design and to Ava Sakiki for the music used during this week's episode.
See y'all groovy kids next week on Saturday Morning Mysteries.